Alright, we're back with episode 6 of Goku and DC Remastered. And in this episode, Goku will be butting heads with the Dark Knight himself, the Dark Knight of Gotham, the Batman. Alright, so let's get into it. If you guys want to catch up on the other parts, just go to my Goku and DC Remastered playlist to catch up with the previous parts. Alright, and as you guys know, I'll do a little quick recap again. Goku and Superman were raced together and they both landed at the Kent farm. Goku got hired by Lex Luthor to hunt down for some kryptonite. He ended up meeting Wonder Woman. Then he ended up meeting Aquaman. And then he ended up training with the Raj Al Ghul family. And then he met Catwoman. And in this episode, he's going to be butting heads with Batman. So once again, you guys can go to this playlist to learn more about that. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's get back where we left off. Right? So Selena is left in the dark and what's going on as Goku walks past her without saying a word, with a serious look on his face, and she wonders where he is off to next. Goku had disappeared from her view, and she wondered if she should follow after him, but before she could make her decision, she was confronted by the arrival of Batman. She smirks at the Caped Crusader before telling him that he's a little late to the party, because the fun is already over, but the vigilante's face remained unamused as he berated Catwoman for involving a teenager into her life of crime. Catwoman knew he was talking about the boy she had just met and got defensive, telling him, "For your information, I just met that kid today, and he didn't come here to steal. He actually came here to take out some robbers." Batman's eyebrow raised behind his black cowl at the statement, and Selena picked up on it, so she told Batman that she thinks that kid he was asking about was one of those rare metahumans they've been putting on the news, because he took down some gangsters and even Firefly with not much of a problem. Batman, however, looked at the burnt ruins of the buildings behind Catwoman where the unconscious robbers had been burned, and told Selena that the boy she involved herself with was clearly reckless and might be a danger to the city of Gotham. Batman then asks where the boy went, and Catwoman shrugs her shoulders and tells the hero she has no clue, and then Batman sees Firefly on the ground and wakes him up forcefully to beat some information out of him. Pause. We then cut back to Goku, who had just arrived to the building Firefly had told him about, where this black masked scoundrel was located, and the team was not in the mood for talking, so he knocked out a security guard and punched through a door that was locked, which ended up triggering an alarm for the building. Black Mask was starting to sweat through his mask as he watched Goku dismantle his goons like they were plastic toy soldiers, and decided to point his grenade launcher at his door entrance. And eventually Goku makes it to his destination and forces himself through the metal door, and whenever he barges in, Black Mask fires his rocket-propelled grenades at the young intruder. Goku crouches down to duck the explosive projectile, and it detonates behind him, and he looks at the shooter with a menacing stare. And faster than Black Mask could even react, Goku lunges at the crime leader and grips his suit while threatening him, and Black Mask wanted to live, so he decided to tell this teen where Talia was located, because he didn't want to have his mask crushed in and caved into his skull by this strong teen boy. Goku had finally found the actual location of his friend. Now he just hoped she was still alive, and he wondered why she was taken away in the first place. But as soon as he exited the building, a boomerang-like projectile buried itself in the ground right in front of him, and he looked up to see a man staring down at him, dressed like some sort of bat. Batman's deep voice reaches down to the teen as he tells Goku that they need to talk about his recent actions. But Goku simply narrows his eyes at the Caped Crusader and tells him that he doesn't have time to chat with his new visitor. Batman remembers what Catman said about this boy possibly being one of those rare metahumans, so he will need to be careful with subduing his opponent. But he felt like he had to before this boy got into any more trouble and put more civilian lives at risk on his unknown quest. Batman decides to make the first move and throws down a smoke bomb to appear out of sight, and Goku tries to track him through the smoke, but his figure is already out of his line of sight. Bruce takes advantage of the confusion, activates his thermal lenses, and flanks the right of his opponent and sends a left hook to the face of his adversary, but to his surprise, the attack had little to no effect. Goku was becoming more annoyed by the second, and he really didn't have time for this, so he decided to use some of his unusual strength, to push Batman into a nearby wall. Batman's padding cushioned the impact, however, and he rebounded from the collision with a new gadget drawn. He activated his shock fist to the high voltage setting and sprinted back towards Goku, who was surprised he was still conscious after his hard push into that wall. But what surprised him even more was the pain he felt from the electric blow to his midsection. Now he was going to take this fight more seriously, because this man had tricks up his sleeve, and the two warriors took battle stances and narrowed their eyes. The real battle began. The two closed the distance. Then, even though Batman was now able to damage his opponent, Goku's speed was clearly superior because he was dodging most of the Dark Knight's strikes. Eventually, Goku grabbed Batman and threw him forward, but the vigilante used his grappling hook to land on the roof of a building, and Goku ends up staring at the masked man who occupied the roof, and he came to the decision that the next time he came down there, he was going to knock him out with a calculated strike. But in Batman's mind, his wheels were turning, and he had his own plan to finish this fight. He reached for one of his batarangs and threw it at the teen in orange, and Goku caught the device out of the air with relative ease, which is exactly what Batman planned on him to do, and he detonated the device, blowing smoke in Goku's face, which disoriented him, and Batman took this opportunity to rush him with his shock fist and start a finisher combo on his opponent. Goku's pressure points were being targeted with the high voltage of electricity, which was causing him to stagger and almost collapse, and it was looking like Bruce was about to finally subdue the other fighter. But as Goku's vision was fading to black, he remembered his time with the Ghoul family, who had taught him so much and trained him as if he was a member of their own clan, and how Talia treated him like a brother his entire stay there, and now she was captured and needed his help more than ever. So he suppressed his pain with rage, and his eyes began to glow red, just like his brother Clark's, and he pointed his face toward his unsuspecting attacker. He yells enough and blasts Batman into a trash pile with enough power to leave his body smoking, using his unperfected ki vision. Goku got his bearings and uttered a loud, "Now I have to go find Talia before it's too late," and he ran to the direction that Black Mask had told him about, and unbeknownst to him, Batman heard him talking about Talia, and the Dark Knight was glad he had planted a tracker on the team while they were fighting, just in case he got away from him. Goku was now at the coordinates that Black Mask had given him, and he was looking around for Talia, and to his surprise, he actually found her, bound to a chair in the center of a room. So he ran up to her so that he could release her. But he was blindsided by someone else inside the building and sent into some wooden chairs. Goku got back up to see a burly man with green skin telling him that he was glad that he came there because maybe Talia will tell him what he wants to know when Goku's life is at stake. Goku was confused on who this was, so he decided to introduce himself as Drum, son of the demon. Goku was tired from the past fights he'd been in that night, but he wasn't backing down, so he told Drum he would stop him here and now, and the green man simply smiled. Then Drum rushed Goku in a blur faster than he looked and punched him back into the ground, laughing as the teen struggled to get back up. But before he could continue the torment, Batman had arrived on the scene to free Talia, having heard everything from the tracker he had placed on Goku. Batman hurled a volley of batarangs at Drum, who easily avoided the weapons, but in actuality, he was aiming for Talia's direction so that she could cut herself free from the bindings. Goku and Batman were both tired from their previous battle, and Drum planned to take full advantage of this fact and began his assault on the two warriors. Scratches and bruises were riddled on the two warriors as they struggled against the giant green terror who had just sent them through some drywall of the abandoned building. As they caught their breath in the adjacent room, Batman realizes they'll need a plan to survive this, so he looks at Goku and tells him that in order for them to win, they will need to work together. Batman will distract him with his smoke grenades and other gadgets, and Goku should use his superhuman strength to hit him hard enough to bring him down, and the pair agree with the plan. So when Drum walks through the hole, Batman throws a smoke bomb below his feet, and Goku runs on the wall to get sight of the giant through the smoke, and delivered a double axe handle strike to the top of his head, knocking him on his knees. But before Batman could interrogate Drum, he was killed by Talia's blade, and Batman was very angry by the action. But Talia interrupted, and she told both of them that the whole world was in danger and that they needed to tell her father that the Demon King Piccolo has returned. And meanwhile, in Piccolo's lair, Piccolo's other son, Tambourine, came to inform his father that Drum had been killed and failed to get the answers they wanted, but King Piccolo told Tambourine that it didn't matter because they were going to follow them back to Ra's al Ghul's lair. The old king began to laugh maniacally, saying that soon his youth would be restored by the Lazarus pit, and the world would once again feel his full power. And that's where we're going to be ending this episode, so be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you liked it. More coming soon. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.